Hi everybody, peace and welcome to my small but almost famous channel here on YouTube. My name is Mystery Explorers and today we are going to explore once again, only virtually, the Philippines. Because I'm planning to go there this year, and the video we are going to watch is by Geography Now, a rather known channel. This video was recommended to me by one of my viewers. I actually already subbed to their channel way back before, but it didn't come to my mind to just watch a video about the Philippines. Well, what can I say? Let's just go straight to the video, guys. Thank you for joining in. I hope you enjoy.
Asia, the Philippines is like the jolliest of them all. They're just happy, fun, jolly people. And
You know what?
Yeah, I
It's been 3
concur.
years. I'm not taking this anymore.
I
I've
approve.
been pushed around, I've been threatened, I've
From my
been
last
thrown in the
videos.
dungeon, I've been the butt of all the jokes. I'm the Filipino one. This is
Oh,
my
he
time.
is. He might be a Filipino right? From his looks.
Welcome to the Philippines. My turn.
okay.
Your turn.
It's time to learn geography.
Yes.
Hey everyone, I'm Ken, and as you know, I'm half Filipino. Years ago, I was looking for
Yeah,
a
I
job
was
and I saw
right.
this ad asking for a motion graphics animator on Craigslist. Paul and I literally met up at a Jollibee for my interview. He said I was his top
Jollibee.
3 candidates.
But
In
they
reality,
met in
there
the
were only 3
Philippines?
candidates that applied, so technically I didn't lie. But yeah, the other 2 people kind of sucked, so yeah.
Oh, and back then, I had this weird mustache and Paul's hair was basically this way.
Ken and I have been talking for a long time,
I
and we
don't have
agreed
any more hair
Ken
problems
definitely has
now.
to be in this episode. You've come so far from that Craigslist Jollibee interview. You've earned this.
Thanks. Handa na? Magsimula.
Oh, actually speaks Tagalog.
The
Was that
Philippines is an
Tagalog?
interesting country because there's sort of a dichotomy between labels. If you ask a Filipino if they consider themselves Asian or Pacific Islanders, you might get contrasting answers.
What do you consider yourself, Ken?
I always thought Pacific Islanders sounded kind of cool, so I
Yeah,
just
that sounds
stuck with
cool.
So first of all,
The Philippines is a
Well,
tropical archipelago
don't
of over
consider themselves-
7,000 islands,
That don't consider themselves Asians.
about 2,000
Like, all Filipinos down there, type in the comments if you're Asian or not.
of which are inhabited, and it is the largest island nation without any land borders or shared island territory with another nation.
the country is located in
7,000 islands and 2,000 inhabited. Okay. That means 5,000 islands are not inhabited. That's crazy. So can I buy an island there?
Southeast Asia, straddling the
Just
Philippine Sea in the
asking.
north, the South China Sea in the west, and the Sulu and Celebes Sea in the south.
Just to skip away,
Okay, the South China Sea. Okay, yeah. Sulu Sea, I think I heard about that because of pirates, I think.
lies the island of Borneo, which is split amongst 3 nations. At the closest point, only about 22
Borneo,
miles
yeah.
or 40 kilometers away from the nearest island that belongs to the Philippines.
Now, in
one
general,
as
many
well?
people will refer to one of the 3 main island cluster regions that people are a part of. There are Luzon in the
Yeah, the clusters, yeah. Like the one on the left is also part of Luzon, okay.
north, where you can find the capital Manila and where the half of the
Yes.
population lives, Visaya in the center, and Mindanao in the
Okay, half of the population only on Luzon. I think most of them actually live in Manila, right?
south.
Otherwise, the nation is made up of
Yeah, Visayas. Like whenever I hear Visaya, I always think it's Bisayas, the way they speak it. I think that might be because of like some Spanish influence.
17 regions, one of which is autonomous, the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region of Muslim
Visaya?
Mindanao. This place
Visaya?
has a high level of self-rule and autonomy appointed by the government. We'll explain more about this later.
If you want to be absolutely technical, Quezon City, a bit north of Manila, is the largest city in the Philippines. However, the surrounding 16
Yeah.
towns and cities by Manila are called Manila Metro.
16 towns and cities around. Okay, so Quezon? No. Quezon is also its own city, and Manila is just like the small thing there, and then everything is called Manila Metro, okay? Okay, now I get it. So everything there is like their own kind of city, whatever district. Okay, that's crazy.
Or the National Capital Region. And
So I guess everything is like very different then, right? Like every part of it?
they basically act as one unit.
Otherwise, the largest city outside of the NCR are Davao City in Mindanao
I
and
have to find out in the future.
Cebu in the Visayas.
Manila has the largest and busiest airport, Ninoy Aquino International Airport, which is basically the hub that services the entire NCR. They also have the busiest shipping port at the Port of Manila.
Otherwise, the second largest airport is Cebu Mactan International, and rounding out for third place is Davao City Francisco Bangoy International.
In terms of land transport, though, the Philippines is well connected amongst the islands. In fact, the longest highway is the Pan-Philippine Highway that stretches about 3,500 kilometers across the country
What?
and connects Luzon, Samar, Liet, and Mindanao with underground tunnels connecting.
My gosh, like this is crazy. Like 3,000 something kilometers? I think I never heard of like a road that long maybe. Well, I guess somewhere there is, but not on an island, like connecting with tunnels and stuff. That's really crazy.
them.
Finally, the Philippines has only 2 territorial disputes. The state of Sabah in Malaysia on North Borneo. The territory once had been part of the Sultanate of Sulu, a Muslim state that existed the 15th century to the 20th century, and that's a whole other story.
As for the
I think I want to like travel this road once, like all the way, you know? I wonder how long it takes.
others dispute, as we mentioned quite a few times already, this whole area known as the Spratly Islands is a complete mess. If you don't know anything about this place, it basically goes like this.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. This is the map showing what everyone claims in the area. This big one right here
Okay,
is
Vietnam, Malaysia, Brunei, China, Philippines. Okay, yeah. Well, I guess there are a lot of small islands there and everyone is like fighting for them or something.
China's. Like, yeah, they just kind of pretty much went for all of it.
This has even led to a few
China
skirmishes
wants
between
all.
nations that have built patrol stations on the islands. And when they spot a ship that gets too close, things can get kind of ugly.
It's kind of like this.
Hey, what are you doing? This is my area.
I'm just doing some fishing and research here, you know?
Why do you have a shovel then? Are you building something? Or?
Well, technically there's no land protruding from this reef, so there's no land claim.
So you're just gonna build your own land.
For research.
Anyway, here are some notable
gosh.
spots of
Yeah, I'm not gonna comment on that, China.
interest.
Fort Santiago,
Magellan's Cross,
San Agustin Church,
Sagada Hang.
Okay, I'm gonna slow it down a little bit. Hanging coffins, okay. Crazy.
Coffins,
Aguilando
Aguilando Shrine.
Shrine,
Cebu's
Never heard of him before. I have to find out as well. Taoist Temple, okay. They have Chinese temples.
Philippine Taoist Temple,
I mean, yeah.
Shrine of Mama Mary in Tagaytay,
the Lapu-Lapu
Okay.
Shrine,
Luneta Park,
Lapu Lapu,
MacArthur-
I heard of that one. The landing site, okay, that seems like an American landing
the
site.
landing site,
Banawi Rice Terraces.
the Malacanang Palace,
Vigan has many historical and colonial buildings,
the various national museums of history and arts,
tons of amusement parks,
and that's not even including all the natural wonders of the Philippines. They have an underground river,
the most amazing, beautiful beaches in the universe.
hills that look like
What is this? Like, this doesn't even look real. This looks like from a sci-fi movie or something. This is for real?
lumps of chocolate.
And there's an island in a lake, in an island, in a lake, in an island. Yeah, when you have
Okay.
7,000 tropical islands on a volcanic archipelago, chances are things can get pretty crazy landscape-wise. Which brings us to... The actual physical land of the Philippines is the biggest treasure you will find here for sure. Anyway, the Philippines lies on the Ring of Fire and is specifically on a tectonic plate named after them.
Philippine plate? I never heard of that before. Like, why do I know so little? That's a shame. Ring of Fire, okay.
The Philippine plate.
And about 95% of
seems
the
to
land
be
is made
kinda
up of the
dangerous.
11 largest islands.
The country was essentially formed through the tectonic activity between the Philippines,
Ah,
Manila,
right.
and the Mindanao Trenches. The
Wait, so Japan is also like, has been formed by this plate, I guess?
Mindanao being the second deepest in the world.
This makes the country susceptible to small earthquakes and minor volcanic activity.
Like very deep undersea, what was it?
Now being the second deepest in the world. Activity between the Philippine, Manila, and the Mindanao Trenches. The Mindanao being the
Trench,
second deepest
okay.
in the world.
This makes the country susceptible to small earthquakes and minor volcanic activity.
There must also be a lot of deep sea creatures then coming up there, maybe? I don't know. I have to ask the divers.
About 53 active volcanoes can be found in all of these largest islands, except for Palawan. The most famous and picturesque
Active
of these
volcanoes,
include
yeah.
these three.
Holy
See this
crap.
island here, Camiguin? It actually has more volcanoes than towns on it. 7 versus 5, making it the place
Oh
with
my
the
gosh.
most number of volcanoes per square kilometer in the world.
There's always some volcano active then, I guess, on the Philippines.
In fact, the tallest peak in the Philippines is a potentially
Like I remember here when there was a volcano activity on Iceland, and then all the airports were like shutting down because of that. Like here in Europe, because of a big cloud of ashes. So I wonder if the Philippines have the same problems.
active volcano, Mount Apo, located in the South Mindanao area.
The country has numerous mountain ranges and highlands that dip into the fertile valleys, the largest range being the Cordillera Range in the North Luzon area, hooking into the Sierra Madre Range on the east side, which feeds the longest river of the country, the Cagayan, that flows into the Cagayan Valley.
This valley, along with the Central Luzon Valley, are the largest arable croplands and produce nearly all of the rice in the Philippines.
The Visayas are known for
Rice.
growing the most sugarcane, whereas Mindanao
Sugar cane. Okay. I don't even know what that is.
specializes heavy in coconut and fruit production.
Back in
Coconut and banana, yeah. That's what we also, well, we eat bananas here, but not really that many coconuts.
Luzon, though, you can find the largest lake in the country, Lake Laguna de Bay, which is actually in the caldera of a dormant volcano.
The lake has a weird detached island called Talim and is actually drained by the Pasig River that flows through the capital, Manila.
And finally, the country is the heart of typhoon
So is there only one river, Manila?
territory. They can come at almost any time of the year. The nation will experience on average about 20 of the turbulent storms annually, which often flood to their many river systems. But yeah, if anything, Filipinos are the most cyclone-adapted people on Earth. They're used to it. The water has always been kind of their thing. Swimming, sailing, fishing.
Just not exactly quite diving into it.
Otherwise, the Philippines is one of the 17 mega-diverse nations on Earth.
Yeah, I kinda heard that Filipinos are not that good at swimming somehow. I don't know why.
Actually have the largest level of marine biodiversity in the world within their waters and the highest rate of animal discovery on the planet, with 16 new mammal species that were discovered in the past decade alone.
They have everything
What?
from
The longest snake in the world, the reticulated python.
the largest fish in the world, whale sharks,
7 of the 8 known species of giant clam are found in the Philippines.
the world's smallest hoofed animal, the Philippine mouse deer.
And their national bird is the
Mouse
largest
deer.
eagle in the world.
Economically speaking,
What?
the Philippines
Oh
is
my
considered
gosh.
a newly industrialized nation.
Like,
It is
this is
transitioning out of
crazy.
becoming an agricultural-based system to a service and manufacturing-based one. They have like 3 of the
So
top
many
10
cool
largest malls
animals.
on Earth.
Ooh, just you wait. I'm taking the top spot soon.
They're one of the fastest growing economies in Asia, and as the 34th largest economy in the world, their GDP purchasing power parity has surpassed the $2 trillion mark.
Basically, the Philippines is definitely becoming a key power player in the world stage. It's like,
We're so rich!
someday. For what it's worth though, mining, fishing, and agriculture are
I think if it goes up right now, maybe it's a good time to invest in the Philippines, guys.
strong industries as well. They are currently the world's largest nickel and abaca or Manila hemp producers and the second largest coconut producer after Indonesia.
Tourism, though, is another important industry,
Coconut
taking up about
producer.
8% of their GDP, employing over 3 million people.
And now, food! Now in the Philippines, every region has their own specialty and culinary strange.
Yeah, every dish looks like
Oh,
a fairy
yeah.
exploded.
Lots of dishes you can eat kumakain kamay or eat with your hands.
Kumakai kamai. Kumakai kamai. Yeah, let's eat with our hands.
Yeah, pretty much everything has rice, and then you're gonna get a lot of grease and salt and vinegar and a lot of like, I don't care if that looks like it goes there or not, I'm still gonna eat it anyway. Right, Ken?
Yeah, that's Filipino food.
Yeah.
There's really no official national dish, but 3 meals that are well
I think lechon is national dish, right? I think it's like everywhere around. I heard of that.
known for are adobo, lumpia, and sinigang.
And in the non-Muslim
Sinigang.
parts, lechon is a huge deal.
There are also dishes like
Tagalog steak,
tinola,
pansit luglug,
Pansit luk. Okay, what's that? Looks like octopus.
kare-kare,
sigstig,
tapsilog,
balut.
Oh no.
Kinilaw.
What are
And my favorite Filipino dish, palabok. Just put some nice little lemon juice on it. I actually got this at Jollibee. If you don't know what Jollibee is, it's like the most popular fast food chain in the Philippines. It's like if McDonald's and KFC adopted a Filipino baby, and they even added spaghetti to their menu for some reason.
Yeah, I heard about that. Like spaghetti in a fast food restaurant. I think it's the only one on the world, right? And well, Jollibee is only on the Philippines. But the one on the right, that looks really very nice, like on the top right. With shrimps and egg, and yeah, that's lovely.
Otherwise, Filipinos are dessert experts. They love their ube everything, ube ice cream.
What's ube? Like, is this like a root or
Some
something?
reason.
Otherwise, Filipinos are dessert experts. They love
Yeah, it looks like some kind of root. Purple yam.
their ube everything, ube ice cream, ube bread, ube pie, ube cakes.
Oh, they also have like sapin, and cassava cakes. Those are the best desserts in my
Sapin,
opinion.
They also have halo-halo, leche flan, turon, bukok pandan, and puto.
Puto. Okay, it looks cute. What's that? Looks like ice.
What you call me?
Ice
If
cream.
you're either Latin American or Spanish, you may notice some of those foods are also found in Latin cuisines, and there's a reason for that.
Yeah, we'll explain that in...
I know
Now,
to
only
try
in the
all these
Philippines can you
food.
find people that have Spanish names, speak English,
Looks
celebrate.
so nice. Like the place looks like, I don't know, like from a sci-fi movie. Then they have like all these crazy animals, and then they even have like more crazy food, you know? Like how can you not possibly want to go there?
In Austronesian culture and cook Chinese.
General MacArthur once said, "Give me 1,000 Filipino soldiers and I will conquer the world."
Yeah, for some reason, Filipinos are like the best friends of Asia. Filipinos still have the best attitudes and smiles. They even give time off felony sentences if the prisoners volunteer to take part in a Michael
Yeah,
Jackson
I
dance
saw that.
performance to the public.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. First, the graph. The country is about
Philippines,
110
that's
million people
right.
and is the 8th most populated country in Asia and the 12th most populated country in the world.
There are about 175 ethno-linguistic people groups in the Philippines, the majority of whose languages are Austronesian.
Of these groups, the largest ones are the Tagalog at about 28%, 13% are Cebuano, 9% are Ilocano, and 8% are Bisaya. The rest are made up of other groups plus a small minority of non-native citizens,
Okay, so Tagalog is actually not the majority.
mostly Asians and Americans.
It's important to note, though, that the Philippines has about 10.2 million people overseas worldwide. It is one of the largest diaspora populations, spanning over 100 countries. The US alone has about 4 million.
I mean, they
They like to travel.
were at one point colonized by the US, so go figure.
They use the Filipino peso as their currency. They use the types A, B, and C.
Everything. Like we only used the one on the right here in Germany, at least.
plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road.
Oh, and keep in mind the word
Very good.
Pinoy is synonymous with something that is Filipino. You
Not
might
the
see that
English
used a
way.
lot.
Now back
Not
to
like
the
the
ethnic groups
Japanese.
thing. Since there are over 175 of them, you would think, how do they all communicate?
Well, the Philippines has two official languages, English, which makes them the 5th most English-speaking nation on earth, and Filipino, which is the standardized version of Tagalog. The Philippine Tagalog language spoken today is a very different from pure Tagalog. It actually has about 14% Spanish, 10% Malay, and 7% English mixed into it with a slew of other borrowed
I think they mix more English into it, right? At least when I hear them speaking, it sounds like there's much more English, like Taglish, or how do you call it?
loan words. You can see the influence in words like ventilador, guapo, zapatos, and familia.
Guapo.
Often, Filipinos will substitute an F with a P,
Or a V with a B.
or a V with
Yeah,
Same with Koreans, actually. Yeah.
yeah,
High
that's
five
what I
with
said.
minimal
about
consonants.
Bisaya.
Yay!
Oh, and fun fact, Ken taught me this. In Tagalog, you can actually say an entire conversation just using the syllable ba. For example,
Ba, ba ba, ba ba, ba ba ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba.
What? Ba, ba ba, ba ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba, ba 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 ba.
Ba ba,
ba, ba 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 ba.
ba ba ba.
Well, that was fun. Otherwise, in the Visayas and Mindanao area, Cebuano is a common language, as well as the other regional tongues like Waray and Daboeno.
They even have the only Spanish-based Creole in Asia, Chavacano, located in Zamboanga City. Now, the Philippines is unique in that over a past few centuries, they've gone through 3 periods that shape their identity.
Before European intervention, the Philippines has had a multitude of early civilizations that built kingdoms and dynasties like the Tondo, the Namayan, the Pangasinan, and the Sulu Sultanate.
Many of these kingdoms had their own indigenous writing system, such as the Baba.
Okay. Yeah, that looks like... Okay, I never saw that before.
Bayan, Buhid, Eskayan, and Kulitan.
Genetically, Filipinos are classified as belonging to the broader Austronesian people group, with their closest cousins being the Micronesians, like the Mariana Islanders, Guam, and Palau.
Although over the years, many people have mixed, and today it is speculated that somewhere around 1/5 or more of the population may have some kind of Chinese ancestry. After the Spanish came in, they adopted many of the customs, traditions, and cultural traits which have Spanish roots. Their own country is named after Spanish King Philip. The biggest trait, though, would be the fact that they are predominantly Catholic,
King
at about
Philip.
81% of the population adhering to the faith.
The rest are mostly Protestant, with a small Muslim minority in the
Okay, in the south.
South Mindanao area.
The Philippines is the largest Christian nation in Asia, 5th largest Christian nation on earth, and 3rd largest Catholic nation after Brazil and
Okay, Russia.
Mexico.
They have so many holidays and festivals devoted to Catholic themes like All Saints Day, Holy Week, and Easter, and of course, the largest one, Christmas.
The Philippines has the longest Christmas
Cursed mess. I found a mistake, guys. cursed mess.
season out of anywhere else on earth.
Okay, so now we're just gonna rapid fire a list of 12 fun cultural facts for the Philippines.
Filipinos have a ton of superstitions. For example, whistling at night will turn you into a werewolf.
For formal occasions,
What? Whistling at night? I always whistle at night, so I'm aware of. Who knows?
You may see Filipinos wearing traditional barongs for men and Maria Clara or mestiza dresses for women.
There are many other traditional costumes and customs for the other 170 ethnic groups. Too many to cover, but it goes everywhere from feathers, coconut fibers, hair dresses, tribal tattoos, and so on.
Speaking of which, the
And
Philippines
so-
dominates major international
so
beauty
many
pageants with a
different
grand total of
things
15
there,
victories
that's
at the
crazy.
Miss Universe, Miss World, Miss International, and Miss Earth competitions.
Basketball and boxing are the most popular sport by far. They have the oldest basketball league in Asia and
Boxing?
the second oldest in the world after the United States. And come on, we all know Pacquiao.
The Philippines is the leading nation
Yeah, I
to
saw this
train
one
and
before.
export nurses abroad. It's been said at
And I know that basketball is very like popular there as well, yeah.
one point, every Philippine
But I didn't think that boxing is so popular though.
is the leading nation to train and export nurses abroad. It's been said at one point,
Yeah,
every
that's
Filipino
true.
has their should I just drop everything and become a nurse moment in their life crisis.
That's a fact. I've had those. And the word balikbayan means returner, or
I think because Filipinos are so respectful people, especially to elders, they actually make very good nurses.
returning family. It is used when someone comes back from expat work abroad.
You might hear the honorific title of po or opal for elders, and a lot of
Yeah.
people often raise the backs of the hands of their elders to their forehead as a sign of respect and say bless.
In the Philippines,
Bless? Okay, they say it in
you
English.
have your name and you have your Pinoy nickname, and they get really weird and creative. Pepsi, Bing Bong, Jelly Boy, Pinky, Bum Bum, and Earl.
Every Filipino on
I want to have a Pinoy nickname as well.
every island in every region can tell you
Please,
Filipinos are
someday.
obsessed with karaoke. The first karaoke machine was actually patented by a Filipino, Roberto del Rosario, even though some Japanese dude invented it, but he patented it.
Obviously, that means music is a big deal in the Philippines. Besides taking modern cues from American pop,
Yeah, I
they
know
also
they
have
like to
traditional
sing.
style. Instruments include things like gudyapi, kilitang, gimbal, kubing, and tongali.
In addition, there are many
What was
different styles
that?
of
Like
Like if-
gudyapi, kilitang,
Okay.
gimbal, kubing,
Bing.
and
Nose flute? Like this is a thing actually.
tongali.
In addition, there are many different
Okay.
styles of dance, but the most famous one considered the national dance is tinikling,
Why don't you just use your mouth, you know? Why are you using your nose?
a dance done between two pairs of perpendicular bamboo poles that are clapped together as percussion tools, and the
that's so
dancers
cool.
must weave their feet in and out in the
Never saw that before.
spaces before getting hit or tripped.
Now, on a bit of a more
That's actually a cool idea.
objective note, we do have to talk about some of the controversies.
The Philippines is beautiful, but if you've been keeping up with current events, they do have their fair share of issues that have made headlines. We don't sugarcoat everything here.
Human trafficking, whether into the sex industry, slavery, or organ smuggling, has been a problem in certain areas. And even though anti-trafficking acts have been passed by the government, enforcement has not always been on par.
The drug trade has also been a major inconvenience for decades, affecting millions of people in the country. This has led to the new controversial laws instituted by President Duarte, which encouraged the public to seek
Isn't he called Duterte? Did you just say Duarte?
bounty in exchange for hunting
I think he's called Duterte.
down drug pushers. Many have died in the process.
And finally, you have the Moro conflict, an insurgency in the predominantly Muslim Mindanao region, which
Yeah, I heard about that too.
sought to take parts of eastern Malaysia and break away through conflict. The fight has been going on for nearly half a century, and now it's just
But as far as I know, the fight is already kinda over, right? Like there's not much going on anymore. And the drug policy, well, that was very controversial, I think. Like some were super like positive about it, like yeah, this has to be done, and others were like, yeah, no, like what's going on?
ending at the turn of the 21st century.
Kind of.
For what it's worth though, in the Philippines, everyone is family at the end. You don't have to be related to anyone to call someone ate or kuya. There's even a word,
Yeah.
bayanihan, which means something like helping one another.
They always call each other ate or kuya, yeah. Even the delivery guy, I think.
In community spirit, without expecting anything in return. In any case, we gotta finish off this segment with history.
Austronesians.
Tribal kingdoms and sultanates.
This guy came to the islands.
Catholicism comes in.
Lapu-Lapu
Magellan, yeah, I heard of that. Okay, that was like 1522 with Lapu-Lapu.
and Magellan dies in battle.
5 Spanish dudes followed through.
They finally become a colony of Spain.
The galleon trade.
British Philippines.
And then back to Spain. The Treaty of Paris.
Philippine Revolution.
The Spanish-American War.
First Philippine Republic. Philippine-American War.
American occupation.
World War II, Japan invades.
American pushes them back.
Finally, Philippine independence.
Ferdinand Marcos
Yes.
turns from president to dictator.
Martial law.
This guy gets killed because he was against the regime.
Okay,
People Power Revolution in 1986.
and there's
Growth
so
from
much.
agricultural society to an industrial one.
And here we are today. And now we finish off with the notable famous people condensed. Some famous people you guys, the Pinoy
think-
geography
My brain is going to explode soon.
guests to be mentioned in this episode include
Lapu-Lapu.
Jose Rizal. These two
Rizal,
saints.
yeah.
Melchora Aquino.
I read about him in my last video.
Manuel L. Quezon,
Lacan Dula, Josefa Yanes Escoda, and Vicente Lim,
Carlos Peña Romulo,
and all the Miss Universe winners.
All the Miss Universe winners.
Yanes Escoda and Vicente Lim,
Carlos Peña Romulo,
and all
Oh my gosh, yeah. Like Filipinas are always so beautiful.
the Miss Universe winners. And there's a ton of American
Oh yeah, I know these ones, yeah. Bautista, that's okay. Bruno Mars, yeah.
with
Crazy.
Filipino or partial Filipino descent.
Yeah, you can see there's lots of American Filipinos. Those two get along pretty tight.
We'll explain more on how that happened in... Because of the long history in the Philippines being colonized by two major Western powerhouses, it would make sense that it would have ties with the outside world in many different ways.
For friends, the Philippines is generally close with all the ASEAN nations and does great business with them, particularly Indonesia and Malaysia, their closest neighbors.
The Marshall Islands, Palau, and the federal states of Micronesia are all cousin countries, many of which have Filipino migrants in them, and they all share the same history of being former US territories and US influenced states.
Of course, Spain will always be in the back of their minds as the former colonizer that they gained much influence from. Although Filipinos are not considered Latino, the Spanish and many Latin Americans kind of see them as like the adopted Asians that totally fit in their family. It's like, come on, you're Catholic, you eat flan, every fifth word you speak is Spanish, you're basically one of us.
Interestingly enough, the relationship with Mexico has historically been always strong. The Philippines was ruled under a Mexico-based viceroyalty of New Spain. The Manila galleons were Spanish trading ships, which for 2.5 centuries linked the Philippines with Mexico across the Pacific Ocean, making 1 or 2 round-trip voyages per year between the ports of Acapulco and Manila. And Mexican traditions were brought in like the Day of the Dead and Champorado.
When it
The Day of the Dead, that's also like a Filipino tradition. Okay.
comes to their best friends, however, most Filipinos would probably say, even though colonial years were a little bit bumpy, ultimately the USA and South Korea.
South Korea
I don't even know when the Day of the Dead is. I think in South America they also bring out dead people in some places and put them on the table. But I don't think they do that on the Philippines, right? Don't tell me they do.
was one of their closest best friends from the 20th century on. World War II really bonded with them after the Japanese occupation years, and they supported each other diplomatically.
Koreans are the top #1 tourist demographic that visit the Philippines. Koreans kind of admire the fact that even though they were both influenced by the US, Filipinos speak better English, whereas Filipinos practically obsess over
Yeah, like Filipino English is actually very, very good. Like almost like Americans, well, almost like native speaker. And Koreans have to practice a little.
Korean products and media.
Us.
That's why we're
For the USA, ties were close ever since they became their colony in 1898. The US also had the largest number of overseas Filipinos at over 4 million, most of whom live on the West Coast states like Hawaii and California. They are one of the oldest Asian partners of
Well, Hawaii, I think they feel pretty home there, right?
the US. They have a mutual defense treaty, and they are the largest export partner and second largest import after China.
American pop culture dominates much of the youth influence. Hollywood studios love filming there, and Gallup polls have shown that the USA is favored on average by over 90% of the people asked, making it one of the most pro-American countries on the planet.
Wait, like Americans actually make movies on the Philippines? I didn't know that, but yeah, they're, well, the places and the, well, geography and stuff, the mountains.
And Ken, you take the conclusion.
In conclusion, if you enter a room full of Asians, you definitely know who the Filipinos are. While everyone's so uptight, we're the ones singing karaoke and somersaulting. You could just feel the energy of a Filipino. There's a touch of Latin flavor with American pop undertones. But in the end, no matter what island, you're immediately considered part of the Pinoy family.
Ken, you're one of my best friends. I love you, man. I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. Stay tuned. Poland is coming up next.
Holy crap, guys, I think my head is gonna explode soon. The people of geography now did such a good job in summarizing all the information about the Philippines, and I think there must be even more. Like, this is crazy, really. Like, so many different cultures, so many different languages, so many different landscapes, animals, and food. Like, I don't even know where to start, you know. I have to rewatch the video 3 or 4 times, I guess, before everything sinks in. Or I'm just gonna continue watching like other videos, because up until now I'm just a humble reactioner. So yeah, if you like this content of me, please consider subbing, commenting, liking, whatever you like. and also do the same to geography now, because thank you again guys so much for your very nice video. I really enjoyed watching it. Yeah, I hope you guys have a nice evening or day or whatever it is right now at your place of the world, and I hope you're fine and doing great. Peace out guys, up until next time.